Okay, I'm spotlighted. That means we are now going live on Facebook and YouTube on our public pages. So, welcome everybody that's here on Zoom with me, and also those that are joining us on Facebook and YouTube. And this evening, we're going to take a few minutes and read another psalm. Tonight, we're going to read Psalms 37, which will be an interesting psalm. And then we'll take most of our time for sharing prayer requests, how we're doing, and sharing things that we can pray for each other over the next week about. So if you're not on the Zoom call and you'd like to join us on the Zoom call, you can just go to zoom.joinabc.com and that will get you here and join the rest of us that are here on the Zoom call. Um, and we're talking part of the psalm that we're going to read tonight. Uh, actually, I'm going to hold off until we get there. So let me switch screens here. And I need to move myself into the corner. There we go. And then we're going to switch on over to Psalms 37. So we're going to read Psalms 37 this evening, and the comment before the psalm is that this psalm is of David, and we talked before about there's a number of people who have written psalms, different psalms in the Bible. There's 150 psalms out there, and there's a bunch of them we don't know who wrote. But the most of them, or a lot of them, I shouldn't say, well, most of them, something like that. David wrote a lot of the Psalms, but as we've been looking through, we've noticed that there's a big group that are written by the sons of Korah, and other people. Moses wrote some Psalms. So there's a number of people that wrote Psalms, and in the Old Testament that some of these psalms got collected and put into the book that we have called Psalms. So tonight's psalm, this Psalms 37, was written by David. It says of David in it. And as we read through this psalm is going to tie a little bit into what's happening in our Sunday morning Bible study, and we're about to switch over in our study of dispensationalism into looking at the Old Testament and how the Old Testament is looked at differently than the New Testament, which just because Old Testament, New Testament, we'd kind of expect that. But there's a number of things that are happening in the Old Testament that we have to understand in the context of the Old Testament. And I'm saying Old Testament as a whole, but really we're talking about, at least tonight's psalm is going to be related to Israel and how God worked with Israel. And so in Sunday school, that's what we're going to be looking at. We're going to spend a couple of weeks, and I think Christian's going to be doing that, taking a couple of weeks and looking at this idea of the Old Testament and dispensation in the Old Testament, specifically how God is treating Israel and how that's different than how God is treating the church or us today, and the differences between that, and some significant changes or differences in how God treats the Israel versus the church and what that means. So as we read through Psalms 37, we're going to notice a number of things where David is talking about how God is treating his people, Israel. And so notate those. And then Sunday morning, as we kind of look through the dispensation of how is God treating Israel different than he's treating or expects from us today, that will maybe highlight a few things from the psalm this evening that we're going to be talking about again on Sunday morning. So let's go ahead and read through Psalms 37, a psalm of David. Do not fret because of those who are evil, or be envious of those who do wrong. For like the grass, they will soon wither. Like green plants, they will soon die away. Trust in the Lord and do good. Dwell in the land and enjoy safe pasture. Take delight in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. And we're going to notice in this psalm, in Old Testament poetry, there's in Hebrew and Old Testament poetry, there was a certain way of a couple of different ways, but a certain way that poetry was kind of done. In English, lots of times we'll rhyme things or we'll do things on meter, and in Old Testament poetry, there's a couple of different ways that poetry was done. But you'll see here, there's these groups of two groups that we're going to kind of see all the way through this psalm. And so I tried to help format it a little bit to be able to see these groups. So in here we see two different sets of two groups right here. So the do not fret because of those who are evil, or be envious of those who do wrong. For like the grass, they will soon wither. Like green plants, they will soon die away. That's a group. And then we see another one, the next one. Trust in the Lord and do good. Dwell in the land and enjoy safe pasture. Take delight in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. Commit your way to the Lord. Trust in him, and he will do this. He will make your righteous reward shine like the dawn, your vindication like the noonday sun. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him. Do not fret when people succeed in their ways, when they carry out their wicked schemes. Refrain from anger and turn from wrath. Do not fret, it leads only to evil. For those who are evil will be destroyed, but those who hope in the Lord will inherit the land. A little while, and the wicked will be no more. Though you look for them, they will not be found. But the meek will inherit the land and enjoy peace and prosperity. The wicked plot against the righteous and gnash their teeth at them. But the Lord laughs at the wicked, for he knows their day is coming. The wicked draw the sword and bend the bow, to bring down the poor and needy, to slay those whose ways are upright. But their sword will pierce their own hearts, and their bows will be broken. Better the little that the righteous have than the wealth of many wicked. For the power of the wicked will be broken, but the Lord upholds the righteous. The blameless spend their days under the Lord's care, and their inheritance will endure forever. In times of disaster, they will not wither. In days of famine, they will enjoy plenty. But the wicked will perish. Though the Lord's enemies are like the flower of the field, they will be consumed, they will go up in smoke. The wicked borrow and do not repay, but the righteous give generously. Those the Lord blesses will inherit the land, but those he curses will be destroyed. The Lord makes firm the steps of those who delight in him. Though he may stumble, he will not fail, for the Lord upholds him with his hand. I was young, and now I am old, yet I have never seen the righteous forsaken or their children begging bread. They are always generous and lend freely. Their children will be a blessing. Turn from evil and do good, then you will dwell in the land forever. For the Lord loves the just and will not forsake his faithful ones. Wrongdoers will be completely destroyed. The offspring of the wicked will perish. The righteous will inherit the land and dwell in it forever. The mouths of the righteous will utter wisdom, and their tongues speak what is just. The law of their God is in their hearts. Their feet do not slip. The wicked lie in wait for the righteous, intent on putting them to death. But the Lord will not leave them in the power of the wicked, or let them be condemned when brought to trial. Hope in the Lord and keep his way. He will exalt you to inherit the land. When the wicked are destroyed, you will see it. I have seen a wicked and ruthless man flourishing like a luxuriant native tree, but he soon passes away and was no more. Though I looked for him, he could not be found. Consider the blameless, observe the upright. A future awaits those who seek peace, but all sinners will be destroyed. There will be no future for the wicked. The salvation of the righteous comes from the Lord. He is their stronghold in time of trouble. The Lord helps them and delivers them. He delivers them from the wicked and saves them because they take refuge in him. And that is Psalms 37, Psalm of David. And next, we're going to go into a time of sharing prayer requests and taking time to pray. So if you're watching online and want to share a prayer request, just put in a comment or visit the website at joinebc.com and click the contact button. Now we'll give Brian a minute to end this live feed on YouTube and the public Facebook page.